Hi, this is Neil Gordon. I'm CEO at the Discovery Museums, and this is On the Bright Side. On the Bright Side is a production of the Acton Boxborough United Way, and the Discovery Museum has been trying to help out with that. We're really pleased to have with us today Mike Tobia, who is one of the founders and operators of the Mount Calvary Community Supper. Mike, welcome to On the Bright Side.
Thank you, Neil.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Mount Calvary Community Supper and how many people you've been seeing and things like that?
Sure. It was always a dinner program, and then in the early 90s, it turned into a dinner combo pantry program. And in 2011, they decided that the focus needed to be on the pantry, but it left a gap for those folks who needed a Wednesday supper. A small group of us from Mount Calvary decided to give the supper a try. And we made that decision with no volunteers, no funding. But I will tell you, the first place that I went was the United Way. So the United Way grant cycle had already passed. And I'm walking in January to talk about potentially opening the supper again. And if it wasn't for the help of the United Way back in 2012 and Mount Calvary, there would not be a supper. So fortunately, their good works enabled us to start up. Our very first supper, we had 30 folks, and we got up to 60 to 65 pretty quick. But our numbers now are up in the 100 to 125 range.
That's amazing how much it's grown, Mike. Now I understand that unfortunately, given the conditions, you can't do sit down dinners now, and you're doing takeout. How's that been working for you?
It's been working great. It's the most difficult thing is part of our mission is social interaction with folks. The parking lot, while it allows us to address the food situation, it doesn't allow us to address the social interaction component.
Yeah, I can imagine your guests are really missing the part where they get to be together and the sense of community. And I know you have a lot of volunteers. How have the volunteers been holding up during all of this?
In order for us to do the supper the way that we're doing it now, we need about 90 volunteers. And you're assigned to a certain specialty. So it may be cooking, it may be cleanup, it may be handing out food at the parking lot. But our volunteers are doing a fantastic job, just an absolute fantastic job.
And I know that there's been some coordination going on among all of you folks working on food security issues that the United Way helped organize. And,
right.
Some story about the Groton School. Could you tell us about that?
So fortunately, every Friday there's a food insecurity meeting like this where everyone that touches human resources in either Acton or Boxborough attend this session. An opportunity took place late in the week for food that had to be picked up at the Groton School and transferred to another location. And there were 31 plus items that equated to about 4 to 5 meals for 125 people. But quite honestly, we had no space to store that as well. But because of that call and because of Carol Bussey's help, we were able to get freezer space that day at Acton Congregational Church. So we picked up the food, We moved it to the church, and now we have enough food for, like I indicated, 4 to 5 meals.
It's great when community organizations are able to support each other like that. Congratulations to all of you. I know the community probably would love to help out the Mount Calvary Community Supper. How best can they help you?
The best way to support us is we have a PO Box 1125 in Acton. And if you can help us in any way, it would be deeply appreciated.
That's great. I assume if they make the check to the Mount Calvary Community Supper.
That's correct.
Terrific. Hopefully folks will do that. I know these are challenging times, but all the wonderful people you work with, have there been any sort of, bright sides for you in all of this challenge?
If you think about it, there's 90 individuals who have no problem coming every week to cook a meal for strangers, basically, and hand out those meals out in a difficult situation. Those are our heroes. Those volunteers, at least in our minds, are absolutely our heroes, and we couldn't make it happen without having those volunteers.
That's really wonderful, Mike. And I'm sure they look to you as their hero, as somebody who's leading all of this. We really appreciate both you spending the time with us today and for all you've been doing for the community for so many years. So I'm looking forward to when all those folks can come back and have dinner together at the community supper. That's it for today for the Bright Side. Thank you.